Explosion behind it.
It does.
It's crazy. Hey there, folks.
Hello.
Hello. It's another episode of DrawBomb Live.
With your hosts, these guys.
Poopy and Duty. Are you Poopy or are you Duty?
I'm definitely Duty.
It's a good
You're
choice.
Poopy.
I am Poopy. Big old Poopy guy. Hey, welcome, folks. It's another episode of DrawBomb Live, the show where we draw, and we have no pithy catchphrase or anything of that nature.
Yeah, we've decided. Let's just throw that away. Why are we trying so hard to come up with a catchphrase? So the catchphrase is there ain't one.
That's right. No catchphrases here. You won't find one.
No, we won't try again next week with something different. No, we've decided this is official.
This is what we're doing. How's it going, folks? It's another episode of DrawBomb Live where we no, that's just me going back to another catchphrase. No, but we draw and we talk about junk, and you're here for it, folks. You're here for it. You decided this.
You signed the contract, and you are
That's
required to hang out
You can't turn away.
every Monday.
You have to watch with your eyes open.
We'll check. We'll be checking.
Yeah, we'll do an eye check. They have that technology on Twitch now to make sure you watch the ads. It's
I
great.
know. What's that about? I hate it.
I hate it. I'm gonna
Twitch does it. Did you just say Twitch, or
What'd you say?
did you just say Twitch, or were you
Yeah.
did you say YouTube?
I said Twitch.
Oh yeah, it sucks. Like I'll open a few tabs and then wait for the ads, and then only the one that I have open is they're on to me.
Yeah, they know what I'm trying to do. I've managed to bypass that a couple times, but yeah. Also, what's frustrating is like sometimes Twitch ads will like have the first frame pop up, and then they won't start even if I'm like actively watching that window, and then the ad won't start. So it's like, okay, so I can't watch the stream I'm trying to watch because your ad didn't load. Thanks, Twitch.
While we're all airing our grievances, you know what I hate? When you're on like a streaming service like YouTube or Twitch or the rest.
What's
and
that?
The commercial loads beautifully and perfectly in high definition, but then you get to your content and it's shit.
Yeah.
And, like there's no bandwidth, and it's like, wait a minute. I
Like,
know
wait,
you're able to do it.
Yeah.
Because that ad looked great.
No, they make sure that the ad plays in full quality because that's
Yeah, if anything's gonna be good, it's got to be the ad.
yeah. Well, folks, welcome to another episode of DrawBomb. We're just going to complain about the modern internet day and age the whole time.
That's right.
It's another episode where we're working on these assets. Episode 8 in a row of us doing this, which that's how you know we're serious.
It's gonna be worth it. I'm excited to play around with this stuff.
I'm very excited too. We just need to, well, you know, once we're off the air. Man, that sneeze is fucking me up. Oh no!
No, sir. Those are coughs.
Those are quaffs. No, but once we get a chance to like rig this all up and actually do it, it's gonna be so fun, you guys. It's gonna be
God,
so
I
fun.
hope so.
Yeah, me too. We're really betting a
It'll
lot
be
on
fun.
this horse.
I have no doubts. We've already done this stuff before, to some degree. So
Yeah, I was blowing my nose again, but yeah.
Okay.
We've done this before. I'm not gonna say I'm like super confident in our improv skills, but I think we're decent.
yeah,
I think
no,
we
I'm.
can. Oh, you go ahead. I keep.
I don't
cutting
think
you
we're
off.
amazing, but regardless, it's fun. I mean, if you've enjoyed Critter Cam, or if you've enjoyed Two Dicks on the Beat, or Dr. Catastrophe, then you've seen what we have to offer. Now we're just going to give ourselves new scenarios.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. I would say that maybe we're not like professionals or like expert level improv guys or anything like that, but I feel like we're better than people who don't do it.
True. That's true about most things in the world. You do it one time, you're already better than somebody who's done it 0 times usually.
Yeah. You can take.
Unless you're talking about like being athletic, then some people are just better than me who have never done it before.
Yeah. Or like, people who are like savants at the piano or something like that. They're
Sure.
probably pretty good at it. But DrawBomb Tonight. It's an upcoming sketch improv animation show that we're going to be doing. We were planning on shooting the next episode tomorrow essentially, but there's a person who we were trying to get in contact with, and they've been busy, so they haven't had a chance to get back to us yet. I'm gonna make sure I ever actually emailed potential dates.
Say us getting things ready to roll is probably worth waiting a second longer anyways, but
Yeah.
we're very close, I think.
Actually, not sure I did send.
Oh, well, that
Did it? No,
explains
oh,
why
wait,
I
no.
didn't respond.
I'll do it. Really? Oh my god. I never responded.
Oh, well, there you go.
Are you serious? What the fuck? I could swear like I typed out fucking shit. Okay. Well, I'm gonna do that right now, folks. So.
Sure. But I wouldn't say for tomorrow at this point anymore.
Yeah. Want to schedule it for
Next week or something.
next Wednesday, maybe?
Well, I work on Wednesdays.
Right.
Nice.
Yeah, and we have the empty.
It'll be
head
Monday or
buffet.
Tuesday. Oh, right. Yeah.
We could just do it Monday, yeah, instead of a standard episode of DrawBomb.
Yeah.
Let's try scheduling it for Monday. Damn, I really could have sworn I fucking. I don't believe I can remember firing off that email unless it's in my drafts folder. It's in my fucking drafts folder. Son of a bitch.
You're like, I need to sleep on this.
Sorry, folks. You're gonna hear some tickety tackities while I send this email. Brandon, tell these folks about your wonderful week while I type an email.
Oh my gosh. Real quick, Lowe's Clock and Bell Rocket in the chat. Welcome. Lowe's Clock says, I got a Pringles ad on my ways here. Hello, Brandon and or Ian. Yep, it's the and. Is the art tonight going to be a comic strip? It's a storyboard. Yes. But I'm going to work on some other stuff here in a second. I was just working on the storyboard for this intro logo animation thing. As far as my week is, it's pretty uninteresting, as I just got done telling Ian before we went on the air. It's been a all work and no play kind of week. Welcome, Mad Lad. Welcome.
Welcome, Mad Lad.
Good-
Also, welcome,
good to
Lotus
have you.
Clock. Good to have you both here.
Yep. All the good ones are here.
That's right. All our favorites. Excuse me. Damn, I can't believe I didn't send this email. This actually makes me very mad at myself. If I had only known. We could have scheduled for tomorrow. Maybe it's better we didn't. We weren't totally prepared anyways.
Yeah, I just want to make sure it's ready to roll so that our guests don't have to wait for us to figure it out at the moment.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna tell him Monday, this following Monday.
Yeah, if that works for him, or we can
Yeah, we'll
slightly
see.
adjust one way or the other.
That'd be the 25th. But Brandon, what sort of movies? I mean, tonight you're all work, no
Nothing.
play. Makes Jack a dull
I was
boy.
gonna say I got nothing this time around.
Oh man.
How about you? You carry my load.
I'm trying to send an email.
Oh, that's right.
So I'm trying to
No.
like.
Well, no,
kick
I was
the ball
just doing
here.
some crowd work. Don't you worry about it. Yeesh. Yeah. I've been watching the new Adventure Time like mini series. The HBO puts out one like every year or something like that. since they acquired it. It's Fiona and Cake special, and it's pretty good so far. Had a little bit of a slow start, but I am liking it. The animation's fun as always, and there's some like fun sequences in there. They're doing kind of like a multiverse thing, which I'm starting to get sick of, but Adventure Time has kind of been doing that for a while, so they're allowed. It's not like they're jumping aboard the train. If anything, a lot of people have jumped aboard their train.
They beat the Marvel movies to the punch, I think, on the multiverse way back when.
And they were even doing it before, like Rick and Morty and stuff like that. So
let's who's the first to do multiverses? I know the comic, like if we take the DC and Marvel comics, they've been doing multiverses since I want to say like the 60s or some shit like that. But in the mainstream like zeitgeist, you know, where it's
I feel like it's casually been here and there, but then I think Rick and Morty just made it.
Rick and Morty definitely.
I could be wrong.
Rick and Morty definitely was a big factor on it. I'm trying to think about how far back Marvel is doing multiverses, because I feel like it's recent, but it's not as recent as like. I feel like it's just like over 5 years or something like that Marvel has been doing it. I know Rick and Morty's been doing it for a while, since like they started, like for episode 1, literally. Spider-Man. How long has Spider-Man been doing multiverses? Spider-Verse.
Well, I mean, the Spider-Verse is like a comic strip that existed a long ass time ago, but we're talking about like television and movies, right?
Yeah, we're talking strictly like the visual, like moving picture medium. I'm gonna say, well, also Family Guy actually has been doing multiverses for a while. Like they had that episode where they visit they have multiple episodes where they go to multiverses and stuff like that in Family Guy. Like they went to the Disney universe in that one episode where everything was like all their budget went to that one. Doctor Who wasn't multiverse. Yeah, Doctor Who sits in this weird gray area where it's not multiverse. It is time travel, but I don't think they ever actually do multiverses, because I think everything ends up being recursive in Doctor Who, where like anything that they do in like one time period does affect and get affected by other time periods. So yeah, I think Doctor Who isn't multiverse, even though they could easily bridge that gap and like no one would bat an eye. I don't know. What would have the answer to this question is this one podcast I listened to. Back in the day, in the heyday of Cracked.com, before everyone shifted to video content for Facebook, and it turns out Facebook was fudging their numbers, so a bunch of websites went defunct as a result. But Crack.com used to have like articles and stuff like that, and also a video series hosted by this guy named Michael Swaim. And so they, Crack.com's like shifted employees multiple times since then. But recently I was like wondering, I wonder whatever happened to Michael Swaim. So I went looking and I found out, one, he's producing a movie, or they're working on making a movie about his real life experiences. And then two, and not about Cracked, but like about his life, which there's some stuff that he's gone through. But they have like a series of podcasts talking about movies now, because they're all actually like very smart about movies. So he has like a podcast network called Small Beans, and they have multiple series, but one of them is called Escape from the Multicurse, which is where every episode they look at they take a look at different. Oh, you know what? Speaking of which, the Star Trek movie was very early on, like 2009. The Star Trek movie, like the new ones with Chris Pine.
Yeah. They were multiverse.
Yeah. So I would say honestly, they're one of the progenitors of like the current like trend.
You're right.
Of multiverses, but like so their most recent podcast episodes about that. But the Escape from the Multicurse podcast series is they look at various movies that deal with multiverses. They explore why is the multiverse what is the purpose of the multiverse for this movie, and they always come to the same conclusion. It's usually just so that the writers can write their own story and get away with it.
This gives you more room to play.
Yeah. But like they also they discuss a movie for about an hour and a half that has to do with multiverses, and then they also have like a shtick where one person is like the odd man out, and I don't remember how it works exactly, but it's like one person's the odd man out, and they are like they say like the one person's the asshole essentially, and they're like supposed to be like a jerk version of themselves or something like that, like the evil Spock sort of like situation. But
yeah.
I think in the most recent episode they were talking about Star Trek. So like the one guy comes on and he's like, so this isn't a bit, but I actually watched the wrong Star Trek movie. When you guys said the Star Trek movie, I watched the 1976 Star Trek movie. But good thing is I have, yeah. But he's like, good thing is I have watched the J.J. Abrams movie, so I know what we're talking about at least.
He did his homework.
He did his homework, but so like he kept like steering the conversation. Yeah, I think what they do is like every episode they do try and like the person who's the asshole, quote unquote, will keep trying to like essentially ruin the conversation. Like the one episode, and I think this was Escape from the Multicurse. They were talking about some movie, and then the one guy kept steering the conversation. Like he would like segue the discussion of the movie into like the story of like him losing his virginity. And like he had all these like pre-written like poetic like diatribes written out. And he's like talking about flowers, and he's like, much like the flower that so and so's took for me that fateful night in the dewy and the dewy mountains of, you know, he just like goes off on this like poetic spiel about losing his virginity. It was very funny. So I think that's the shtick, is like two guys are actually like having a serious conversation, then one person keeps on sort of
derailing.
Yeah, derailing. But it's a great podcast. I actually like, if you like movies and you like hearing people who are very smart about movies talk about movies, I do highly recommend the Small Beans Podcast Network. They did a have you ever seen the movie Good Time?
Not yet, no, but you've talked about it.
Yeah, it's so for the listeners / viewers, Good Time is the movie the Safdie brothers did before Uncut Gems, and it's actually like the movie that I would argue revitalized Robert Pattinson's career, because it was like his first movie where I watched it and I was just like, holy shit, Robert Pattinson's really good at acting. And then like, you know, he got Batman.
Yeah, that vampire guy's pretty good.
Yeah, what the hell? Because basically Good Time is about these two brothers in New York, one who is mentally challenged, and the other is like essentially kind of like he's like a small-time crook, and like so he brings his like mentally challenged brother to a bank robbery, and the bank robbery goes wrong. The brother gets caught, and so now Robert Pattinson has to essentially like keep on committing crime after crime after crime. It's like watching Temple Run, you know? You just have to keep running away from those monkeys that are chasing you, and like keep going faster and faster, and there's like no way you're gonna get out of it, because eventually it just ends with failure. So it's kind of like watching a Temple Run the movie, and it's that same quickened pace and like anxiety-inducing nature that Uncut Gems has, but Uncut Gems does have like those moments of like breathers and things like that, but Good Time is just like constant. There's like one moment where this guy kind of like starts telling a little backstory about himself, and it's like so entertaining. It's like 5 minutes long, then it goes right back into the like constant like adrenaline of the movie. But yeah, it's about Robert Pattinson essentially trying to commit crime after crime so that he can eventually get his brother out of jail. It's a great movie.
Sounds like it would make me anxious.
It's a very anxiety-inducing movie, no doubt. That's kind of like what Safdie brothers seem very, very good at. Is just
seems to be their thing.
Yeah. But Robert Pattinson is great in it. Like talking like a Brooklyn New Yorker. He's just phenomenal in the movie. And what's interesting is the mentally challenged brother is played by one of the Safdie brothers, like one of the directors of the movie, and he's so good in it. I like wasn't sure like there's like a scene where he's like, there's like a scene, like the opening scene of the movie is like the brother kind of like taking a some sort of like psych exam or some sort of like getting asked questions by like a therapist or something like that before Robert Pattinson comes in and says, come on, we gotta go. But like the therapist is asking him questions, and like the brother's like struggling, and like there's a moment where like a tear just like a big juicy tear just like drops down from his face because he's like getting like the brother's getting so overwhelmed by these questions the person's asking him. And I'm like, damn. Like, and they don't cut away, like there's no cutting, it's all one take. So it's like this dude has been acting for this whole scene and manages like squeak out like the biggest juiciest tear you've ever seen
right at the right moment too.
Right at the right moment. And I'm like, wow, like this guy is amazing. What actor is this? Or is this like, I could believe this to be like somebody who might actually be dealing with like mental issues like that. And then I look it up and it's one of the directors of the movie. And I'm like, what the fuck? This is a great performance for like a single scene by like a director. It's incredible. But it's a great movie. It's called Good Time, not because the movie is a good time to watch. I mean, it is. But
In fact, it's the opposite.
It's very anxiety-inducing. If that's fun for you, it is a good time. But good time apparently is like slang for time you get out of prison for good behavior. That's your good time. That's why the movie is titled that. But it's great. They kind of do like the Tim and Eric thing, where they just like get people off the street to act in the movie roles. To like kind of give like those authentic performances. So like there's a scene with a bail bondsman and they're talking with him, and like it's an actual bail bondsman that they're like, who's like playing the part of the bail bondsman. So it's like a very interesting, it gives everything like a very authentic sort of feel to it.
Yeah, I like when that's done, as long as it's like done right.
It's done. It's done. Yeah, like, you know, sometimes you get people who are just not supposed to be in movies for a reason. But no, I think they do it very well in this movie. I highly recommend it. It's an anxiety-inducing movie, but if you want to watch Good Time, it's a great movie. And then I listened to these guys talk about it on the podcast, and I just like, they like talked in like such like granularity about certain things, and like just had like a lot of really good insights into like filmmaking process, into like thematic storytelling and things like that. Really good podcast. I highly recommend it. Just, you know, so yeah, check out Small Beans if you like hearing smart people talk about movies in smart ways.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'll check that out.
Yeah. But yeah, what other movies have you seen where like a director of the movie is like playing a part in it, you know, main role or side character, where you've been like, wow, this director actually knocked it out of the park?
Pretty rare that happens when the person didn't start as an actor and then transition over to directing. There's a lot of people that like direct themselves, but like they were like an actor first, and now they're making their like foray into directing after the fact. So it's hard to think of examples. And also, a lot of times I probably wouldn't even know that it's happening.
True, yeah.
I know, like, because most directors, I don't know. Like, I mean, I guess like Tarantino likes to like sneak into his stuff, but he's never doing anything too impressive. He's usually like one of the weakest parts.
Yeah.
Weakest actors on the screen.
There's like a scene in The Forest, the M. Night Shyamalan movie The Forest, where M. Night Shyamalan plays like a sheriff's deputy or something like that. Like, you don't see his face except for like in the reflection of like some kind of thing. But like his line delivery is not good in that particular scene.
Yeah.
But so like an example of a movie where I can think that the director like did a great job acting in it is, have I ever told you about or forced you to watch Big Man Japan?
Yes, we've watched that before.
Okay.
Years and years ago.
Yeah. So for the watchers of the show, Big Man Japan, I almost want to tell you to just go in blind. It's a great movie to go in completely blind. Except if you see the DVD cover, you will get everything spoiled for you. But it's a great movie to go in completely blind. But the main character of that movie is the director of the movie, and I think he does such a great performance in that movie. Like, he really comes across as like a very depressed man who's like struggling internally with a lot of things. So yeah, that's just a Big Man Japan is an example of another example of a movie where a director did a great job acting in it. It is true that a lot of directors do, or it seems to be like a thing that's happening a lot. Maybe it's always happened, because I remember like everyone who was a cast member on Scrubs directed an episode of Scrubs.
Yeah, I think it's pretty common.
Yeah.
People looking to do something different, and like, what better way to learn about how to do the job than to be like directed a lot, you know?
Mm-hmm. So it's interesting. Although, yeah, it's interesting. I feel like, yeah, I guess it's always just been a standard practice for like actors to be like, I'm gonna direct today.
I want to give it a go.
Give it a shot. Charlie Day directed a comedy, and it is not well received.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Unfortunately, I was hoping it would be.
Yeah, I was, I like those guys, so I was rooting for it. But yeah, I when I saw the trailers, I wasn't super hype on the movie either. I was like, oh, this looks like I don't know, looks like cliched Hollywood bad movie, which.
Yeah.
There's definitely a way to tell that story, even though it's already been told like a million times, but you gotta do something new, baby.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet, but yeah, I don't know. Might be fun for like a few performances or something, but yeah, from what I've heard, it's not that great.
Yeah, it strikes me as one of those movies where the cameos are the most entertaining part,
Yeah.
But yeah, I did send that email off, by the way. I don't know if it was fully typed, because I was talking when I typed it.
Right.
But
yeah, I'm sure we'll convey the message.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've been watching that Fiona and Cake spinoff thing. It's pretty good. It's like airing like they drop a couple episodes every week or something. So I haven't seen the whole thing, but it's pretty fun so far. They do some fun, a lot of callbacks to the series, and yeah, it's like a lot of multiverse stuff, but it's still pretty fun.
I'm interested in seeing how they justify it, because like the original Fiona and Cake in Adventure Time was like a one-off episode, and the ending of the episode was that it was all a fan fiction.
Yeah, there's multiple of them, but they were always Ice King's fan fictions.
So that's like an interesting thing for them to say. Like
they cover that.
Yeah, I assume they did, but I mean, what, like, it's a magical place of like, fucking talking beatboxing snails voiced by Biz Marquee and stuff. So it's like, if a fan fiction comes to life in the Adventure Time universe,
sure, not that hard to
yeah
to put that in.
It's not the weirdest thing that happened in that show.
Basically, what happens. Although they have a reason for it, but yeah.
Because like they have an episode where like legitimate Abraham Lincoln from like our timeline goes back in time and sacrifices himself for a character.
Yeah.
And like they play a gunshot sound. It's like a very.
Have you ever seen the original pilot for Adventure Time?
Yeah. What, back when it was on YouTube
Abe
channel
Lincoln
for Operator. It does. You're right. I just didn't expect Abe Lincoln to have a very serious moment where he literally like sacrifices himself to John Wilkes.
Saves the day.
It fucking saves it. Peppermint Butler. But I just noticed that Mad Lad said sounds very pentertaining. I just noticed the P in the word.
Entertainment Python. It's hard to say. If anybody's wondering. Hard to say.
No, it's not.
Very difficult. Can't be done. In fact, they say it's impossible. Actually,
they're an award is on the way for Brandon saying it. Like they wanted to give him an award, an outstanding achievement in saying words.
Logic and science. They didn't think it was possible, but I found a way.
You figured it
many
out.
Practice, a lot of practice, many tries. Did it.
Mad Lad says I've never heard it said, so there you go.
Exactly.
Proof positive right there. But yeah, I'm excited to check out Fiona and Cake. I did see a clip on Instagram, and I do notice that it seems like I mean, Adventure Time was sort of like in the age bracket where you could watch it as a kid and it was like fun, but it was definitely like
a show that talk about.
A show that kind of grew up over time and got more serious and like kind of grew up with its audience, is a phrase people say a lot, and I think that kind of happened with Adventure Time, and it does look like this Fiona and Cake series is sort of staying grown up with the audience.
Yeah, so Adventure Time grew up, and there was like, some more adult things as it went on, but it still, as long as it was on Cartoon Network, it still stayed pretty like tame, even, but now this Fiona and Cake, there's like gore. There's like they killed this one monster in the like first or second episode, and me and Morgan are both like, oh god, like like Finn, he's like an adult in this, and he like stabs something through something's head, and it just like leaves this giant like there's blood, and there's blood in the show.
Which
there's some light swearing. At one part, the character that turns into Ice King was drunk, so
yeah.
There's a thing that they couldn't do when it was on HBO now.
Whoa, give it like 5 seconds and then say that sentence you just said over again, but not as a robot.
Beep, bop, bop, beep, boop, boop.
I think you're good now.
Okay. There's some things they can get away with on HBO that they weren't doing on Cartoon Network.
Gotcha.
There's, some swearing, some blood.
Yeah, because the clip I saw,
drinking.
the clip I saw, like the person got fired from their job. Which, first of all, showing a character having a job is is something you kind of don't do in a kids show because it's like kids don't relate to that, and so getting fired.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, this is interesting. And then like the character like takes off their pants and then like flips somebody off. And I was like, wow,
Yeah.
okay, just going for it.
Yeah.
So that was
but it's since they're a fan fiction, it only makes sense that they get into their underwear.
yeah, that's true. They got to do that as soon as possible. Yeah, especially when it's written by the Ice King, or just if you read any fan fiction in the world, you'll run into that. Brandon, have you ever read fan fiction seriously? Like, have you ever read a fan fiction? You're like, oh baby, this is a juicy one.
To be honest, I don't think I've ever read a fan fiction. Maybe like a snippet of something or something small because it's like funny,
right?
And it's like gone viral. But no, not really. I've never read one.
Yeah, I can't say I have either. I mean, I've read My Immortal, the infamous Harry Potter fan fiction that's so bad it's hilarious. But I'm almost convinced now that My Immortal was intentionally written to be funny. It's hard to believe that that's meant to be taken seriously. But back in the day, like when you're a young kid on the internet, My Immortal was like a new thing. It was hilarious to read it in groups doing voices. But that's it. I've never actually read fan fiction, and I'm sure I'm like the thing is like I've never read fan fiction. I don't really see myself reading fan fiction in the near future, just because like I don't know. I don't feel like it.
Sure, that's a good reason not to read something.
Yeah, but the thing is like I feel like, especially ones that like if it's on a fan fiction site, if it's highly rated, is probably actually pretty well written, because like fan fiction is like passion projects by people who are legitimately like into writing, into storytelling and things like that. So like I don't doubt that there's probably some like really well written fan fiction.
It's silly to assume that everything of any, like, it's rare that everything is bad under a certain like genre or whatever. Like,
yeah,
sure, there's good ones, whatever. How do you seek that out? And also, I don't really have that much desire to read like spin-offs created by, I don't know, like I'd rather read something new.
Yeah, same.
Than be like, here's a story about Lisa and Milhouse falling in love that I wrote at 3 a.m. by myself.
And it's like the most beautiful story you've ever written. It makes you weep. But yeah, I just like, I could also read Catch-22, or I could read a book.
Exactly.
There's definitely like an
good
audience.
stuff that I haven't read that I'm not gonna reach for a fan fiction, really.
Yeah.
Like unironically.
And
man, what's the greatest success story of fan fiction? Is it what's that one that turned into the like BDSM movie that was based on like Twilight fan
50
fiction?
Shades of Grey.
50 Shades of Grey. Is that like the greatest like success story for fan fiction?
I would argue, yeah.
She had films were made, like she's set on money, or he, I don't know who wrote it. I think it was a she.
Stephanie Meyer was a she.
Stephanie Meyers wrote 50 Shades of Grey.
Stephanie Meyer, singular.
Meyer. Okay, who wrote Twilight?
That might have been Stephanie Meyer. Shit.
Okay, yeah, that's why I was getting confused. I thought so.
Looking it up.
Either way, that's got to be the greatest success story of fan fiction of all time, I think.
By English author E.L. James. Okay, yeah. E.L. James wrote 50 Shades of Grey. So I would say, yeah, that's probably the biggest success story for fan fiction. I would say like second place goes to. Like a lot of like writers for Star Trek or for like comics got their gigs by writing like fan fiction episodes essentially and sending it in to the staff, and then the writers were like, hey, this is pretty good, we should hire this person, and that's been a thing that's happened in the past. So
yeah, I guess that is also a good thing. What's that? Okay. So okay, I think a lot of spec scripts, that's how a lot of people get hired, and those are essentially fan fictions or like stories written in the world and then they're sent like by like aspiring writers, and then they'll get hired sometimes if they did a good job.
Yeah,
but I guess it's a different level.
Yeah,
We're actually getting work out of it.
It's a slightly different thing to write a script with the intention of getting a job on the actual show, instead of just like writing a story and being like, this is not consistent with the universe of the show, but this is what I want to happen. I want these characters to get together. This is my baby. That is slightly different. Mad Lad.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead.
Said, y'all think someone will ever write fan fiction about you? God, I hope so.
Maybe. I mean, probably not. But people have drawn us fucking. So I mean, that's happened.
Oh no.
Remember
about that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it was the clocks.
Yeah, it was very scatological.
Yes.
It wasn't meant to be like sexy, so I guess that's like something we have going for it, at least.
Yeah, there we go. We checked off both fan fiction and some Rule 34 stuff.
Yeah.
All at the same time, so two birds.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess we should probably give a little bit of backstory, but we were drawing some, like back when we first met, we were drawing some comics for the Clock Crew forums, and like people seemed to really dig the comics. We got like really positive reception from them. But as a joke, a lot of people would draw like extra panels, or like sometimes people would draw like their own little spin-off panels, which essentially was fan fiction. People were kind of drawing their own fan fiction comics of our stories in that thread.
Yeah, because we had like a long ongoing story, and then we'd like post new pages every so many days, and yeah, and like at like a cliffhanger or something, then people would just draw our characters like start banging or something like that.
Banging
like
and clipping on each other.
Yeah.
Which was very funny. It was flattering.
It was funny. I forgot about that.
Yeah. So I guess we hit that benchmark when we were like 12.
I don't think we were that young.
No, we were maybe 14. But
either way.
Yeah, whatever age we were, it doesn't matter. But yeah, so we kind of, in a sense, yes, but I mean in the modern sense, no, not for anything we've done recently. And Clock Crew, the Clock Crew is essentially a giant fan fiction if you really think about it.
Yeah, basically, I guess.
Because
is all of our chat familiar with what that is?
I doubt it. I like whenever I talk about the Clock Crew, I just blanket assume that the person doesn't know what the hell that is, and I think it's a safe bet.
Basically, it was an animation forum for people, mostly young people, to learn how to animate and just kind of meme and shitpost together.
Shit posting before shit posting had a name.
Yeah, so everybody was just making these kind of purposely bad cartoons, but like essentially everybody's learning to animate in the process. And then you had these like characters that were basically like your avatar that were very easy to draw and animate. And then
they were basically like because we were balls.
Yeah. So because you were shit posting and because the characters are easy to draw, it made it like a very like kind of simple way to get your bearings in Flash animation. And then there'd be a bunch of people on there who would like, they needed help with something. People who knew what they were doing would like help you like learn. And so it was just basically like a fun way to kind of learn to animate.
Yeah, and I do think that like a lot of our skills as animators, I do thank the Clock Crew for that, because it's like, even though we were kind of doing like cheap animation that was easy to put together, like it was still kind of us really practicing like direction, like putting a story together and like animating it.
Big
Like
time.
some of the first things that you animate when when you learn animation is a bouncing ball. So there was just a whole bunch of that. And so it was like
Right. Like if you were learning it in like a serious environment, like a school, versus like, you know, a bunch of kids drawing, like making gross cartoons on the internet to make ourselves laugh, like you'd still be doing the same kind of basic things to learn. So it was just kind of a fun way to go to learn those fundamentals.
Yeah, and the fact that the medium kind of made it so easy to put together something so quick because the characters are so simple, it meant like you could produce more stuff more quickly. So I think we probably learned more doing clock animations than we might have done not doing clock animations. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Like,
I know. I think I learned a lot, at least personally, from that.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Totally.
I agree with myself. I basically just said. But
well put, me.
Yes, good point, Ian. Mad Lad says sounds like a pretty neat thing to be a part of. It was cool. It had its ups and its downs. Like there was drama and stuff on it, which I just stayed out of because like who the fuck has time for internet drama?
Right. Yeah, I was not interested in that either. But yeah, it was kind of like a, you know, like any kind of like club type thing, especially when the majority of the members are kids. There's just like there's some dumb stuff, but overall, you know, the people that wanted to be involved in that stuff were the people who didn't weren't.
Exactly. And overall it was it was a good learning experience, and I mean, you know, I met you through it.
Yep.
We have Lotus Clock in the chat, or Lotus Clock might have left by this point.
Oh yeah.
They were in it, obviously. Their names got Clock in it.
Lotus Clock was the one that like recruited me, so to speak, or like told me about it.
So yeah, it's an interesting thing to consider, especially because like it's been like not necessarily lost to the internet because all or most of those animations are still up, but it's just interesting to think that like it does get like there's actually like quite a few people who are well known on the internet who are or were Clock members or even spin-offs of the Clock Crew, which the Clock Crew did have the Lock Legion, the Glock Group, the Sock Squad. One time I made the Traffic Cone Tang Clan. But that was more as a joke than anything. I don't want to.
I never got banned, so I just stayed in the main thing. I think that's mostly people that were like told they had to leave, and they're just like, fine, I'll go create my own Clock Crew.
Yeah, I'll start my own Clock Crew with blackjack and hookers.
Exactly.
I remember the one time they made me the administrator of the Clock Crew. Like I just logged on.
I remember that too.
They're like, "Hey, you run the place now." And I'm like, "I don't think I should," and I shouldn't have. And we corrected
you had the
that
keys
decision.
to the kingdom.
It was very unfortunate because the moment they gave me the keys to the kingdom, I was like, "Hey, guy, like I'm in college. Like I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do. Like the people are always bitching about the people who run the website being like power hungry, like." And like, so
did you get any of that when you were there?
No. Well, what I did was I was just like, hey man, like we'll put everything to a vote. If people don't want it, it doesn't happen. And then like I had like 3 dudes who were just constantly causing shit and intentionally trying to like make things tough for me. And I'm like, what did I do to you, you dickhead? Like I'm just trying to,
gonna go.
Like it was very frustrating because like I remember the one time I was in class, like in college. And I start getting like text messages from somebody about like something that's going on, and I'm just like, dog.
I'm not your guy. You got the wrong guy.
I shouldn't be answering these text messages right now. I'm supposed to give a presentation.
Like, I'm actively in a room that costs me like hundreds of dollars an hour. So
yeah,
gotta go.
Gotta blast. So yeah, that was an interesting situation where it was just like what did I do to make these guys decide to like start? Like it was just really because they were shit starters, and I just happened to be the administrator.
Yeah, you were the head cheese.
I was. So
it's also kind of like in the most like low stakes way possible. It was kind of like a Um, there's a lot of anarchy in the group, like not in like a real way,
Yeah.
but just like fucking with stuff was part of like what was funny to a lot of people. So
yeah.
you got a bullseye probably put on your head by being in charge of a group of people like that.
Yeah, we were kind of like, the Clock Crew was kind of like the island of misfit toys, really is what it was. Is like, it's where just like a bunch of people who were either okay with being like against the grain, or like were intentionally going against the grain, would sometimes meet up.
Since we were doing a lot of shit posting, we often were entertaining ourselves by making like annoying people over at Newgrounds and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, we were still appreciated by some of Newgrounds, but still, like, I think
it was very
that kind of stuff was.
It was very common for reviews on the Clock movies to be like, I voted 0 as soon as I saw a clock, and it's like, fair.
Yeah.
You shouldn't,
Yeah,
but I get it.
Counteracts us all voting 10s.
Yeah.
Evens it out.
But it was a crazy time. I still am in contact with the Clock Crew people. They're all very nice people. So the ones who run like the actual official Clock Crew Discord now are all very good people, and I actually have nothing but nice things to say about like all those folks who are like the head cheeses of the Clock Crew Discord. That they picked a good bunch to kind of run things over there.
Well, that's nice to hear.
Yeah. But yeah, it was an interesting time in my life. I gotta say. But now we're now, instead of doing goofy clocks, we're doing these static puppets that bounce up and down when their mouths flippity flap.
They sure do.
Very different. So Brandon, you finished the logo storyboard. We're gonna send that over to Austin, and Austin's gonna do something fancy with it.
He might if he's feeling up to it. But
yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd be fun if it was like animated a little bit. Maybe if it were like a little 3D, it might give it a little extra something.
Yeah, absolutely.
I also feel like it'll be, since it's like just letters and easy shapes, it might be an easy task for him if he's feeling up to it.
I'm hoping. I often say this about Austin, but he's a bit of a hard butterfly to catch. So it's like.
Nah, yeah, totally. And also he's doing us a favor, so I don't really.
Yeah, absolutely.
If he doesn't feel up to it, that's 100% fine.
He's a busy guy. He's a legitimate, like, employed person, unlike me. So.
Yeah, and he's good at what he does, so I don't blame him for being picky about who he's willing to.
Yeah.
Deal those skills out to. I would also do it mostly for people who are paying me.
Yeah.
I had that kind of talent.
If we had that sort of job security, we would definitely. Y'all motherfuckers wouldn't be getting any of this shit for free.
Exactly.
Boy. So you just worked all weekend, did you?
All week, yeah. There were days that I was supposed to have off when we were going to work on some stuff, and then they called me in. They did it to me twice.
Big oof.
So yeah.
It actually it worked out that not so much for you that you had to work the whole time, but it worked out.
I mean,
for
I guess
me.
I need the money, but I felt bad that I wasn't able to work on stuff. So if you weren't around, that makes me feel a little less bad about it.
Yeah, I was not around, and I figured I should talk about that trip just a tad.
Sure.
But good
Talk
old
about that trip, why don't you?
Yeah, a good old friend Tom. He voiced a Spider-Man in our Spider-Man sketch.
Oh yeah.
He
Was
frequently
he deathly afraid of spiders and Spider-Man?
Yes, he's definitely afraid of Spider-Man.
Okay, yeah. He did a great job.
Yeah, he was great. So Tom normally does not have any days off from work because he just got a job at like a trucking. He like drives trucks. But he just happened to have this whole entire week off. So for the weekend, he wanted to visit Philadelphia, visit the old gang. And that's what we did. So Friday night into Saturday evening, we hung out. And usually that hangout involves us all sitting in a room. We have our friends Chris and Alex who every time we go, they'll like bring out DVDs or Blu-rays of some obscure anime that you've never heard of that was also like crazy influential on like media. And then we'll watch it. And then usually we do a lot of drinking. So even though we're quote unquote watching it, we're really just talking and shouting at each other over it.
Sure.
But it's a good time. So we watched one
That
anime.
we did this time as well.
Yeah, that's exactly what we did. We didn't change the paradigm one bit.
Nice.
But we watched like this one called like Bastard, which was interesting. It was definitely a very horny anime. But what anime isn't horny?
Sure.
But it was funny because our one friend's last name is Schneider, who was at the hangout, and there's a character in Bastard whose name is Dark Schneider, which is just kind of a funny name.
Sounds like would be like a Star Wars character.
It does kind of sound like it'd be a Star Wars character. He was like it was interesting because it's basically like set in like post-apocalypse future, so it's like you can see like destroyed buildings as like part of the background, and like everything's a desert, but it takes place after like society is rebuilt with like magic and shit after our current society has crumbled essentially. But yeah, and it's like he's a wizard guy, and he just like, you know, he gets summoned and he solves a problem, and he's a real dickhead, and that's why it's called Bastard.
Gotcha.
But that was fun. But then we watched something called Cyber City Oeda 808, which was interesting because it was one of those things where you could definitely see, at least visually, and in the first episode especially it felt like it, but like I feel like Cyberpunk the game and the board game as well as the video game were very inspired by this anime.
Okay.
But there's also like other things where I've seen like direct references. Like I don't remember what exactly it's inspired, but there's like a moment where like there's this like half of a body, like upper torso skeleton dude who's like got wires coming out of him, like he's like part of like a computer system or something like that. And I remember seeing that and thinking like, I've definitely seen this imagery before in something or other. I just can't really place it off the top of my head. But that was interesting to see. But then there's this other one, and this is a much more direct comparison. I'll see if I can actually just find pictures to pull up of this. But did you ever see on Game Pass the game Ruiner?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Should I check it out?
It's all right. It's like a game you can beat in 4 hours. It's like one of those top-down. It's like a top-down shooter thing, sort of like how like that Ascent game we played like an hour of before everyone kind of fell off of it.
Right. Oh, that would have been fun to play the whole thing.
Yeah, I totally would have been enough to play Ascent, but we just kind of like found other things that kind of distract us.
There's just too many games.
Too many games. So I have up on my screen right now. I don't know if it's on the stream for you to be able to see yet, but there's like this moment in the first. It's like, so it's 3 episodes each. I want to say an hour, a half hour long. That like there's 3 main characters, and each episode follows one of those main characters as they essentially like solve a storyline thing. They're like kind of working for like the cyberpunk future police or something like that. But in the first episode, some sort of like virus, like ghost in the machine starts doing. We were talking over it the whole time, so I don't know what the fuck the plot was. But it starts putting on the screen like kill you, kill you, kill you over and over again, which is very cool. And then as soon as I saw that, I immediately knew. So this is the like box art. Or I'm gonna try and find a box art. So this is the box art for Ruiner. And tell me if you see what inspired Ruiner. Again, it should be on the stream.
No, I don't know. I can't really put it together.
Can you see maybe where the where one inspired?
They also
the other?
say kill you.
Yeah.
On their faces.
That's right. So actually, I played Ruiner because I saw that kill you, kill you, kill you thing, and I thought that's dope. That's so cool aesthetically. That's my jam. And go figure, they ripped it. The game's fine. It's fun. It's whatever. It's like, like you'll beat it in 4 hours. It's a fun little story. What you like, you know, it's got like its twists and its turns. It's fine. That's how I'll describe Ruiners. It's fine.
All right. Heard.
So yeah, that's what we do at Chris and Alex's. Is oftentimes they'll show us something that we haven't watched before that is also like strangely influential. Like last time we went, we watched Lost Boys, which is a great movie. It's a fantastic movie, but like when you see some of the things that Lost Boys did with vampires, you sort of come to the realization that like a lot of modern day vampire lore, it like comes directly from what Lost Boys did with it,
totally,
which is very cool to see. But like, you know, it kind of was mind blowing because I'm like, wow, there's like all this shit that is definitely like this is where it came from. Like whenever you see vampires and they have like the crazy fucked up brows that are like all veiny and like evil looking, like that comes straight from
the Lost Boys original.
Lost Boys, yeah, I believe so.
Might be.
It's the first time I can think, because like, you know, whenever Dracula was maybe Nosferatu kind of had a bit of that, but it, like I've seen Nosferatu, the original, and it's like his brow doesn't ever get fucked up like they do in Lost Boys.
No, he just totally looks like a different creature. I don't, you know, than your average vampire.
Yeah. And like whenever Bela Lugosi was being Dracula, you know, he didn't ever have like sure, he might furrow his brow, but like they straight up, like, if you ever see Lost Boys,
where they kind of have some bat-like qualities on their face.
Yeah, and I'll see if I can, like, it just looks really cool. And
yeah, I've seen Lost Boys many times.
Yeah, it's a great movie. If you haven't seen Lost Boys, and you you want to see where a lot of modern day vampire tropes came from, it's a great movie. I highly recommend it.
It's a very 80s movie.
It's so 80s. It's so homoerotic.
It even has a man playing a saxophone, like a buff man playing a saxophone on like a boardwalk, like for like way too long. Like they just hold on this concert shot for a long time. You know, they thought it was awesome while they were making it.
Oh yeah. So actually, fun fact: that guy plays in a band that is actually dropping a new album soon.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I actually, so like when we watched Lost Boys that same night, Chris and Alex showed us like the latest music video from that band. Sax guy's in it. Sax guy's rocking it up with the sax.
He's still saxing it. In fact, he's probably better now because he's had 30 years to perfect it.
Yeah, he's probably like so much better at saxophone than when he was in Lost Boys. And he's still fucking fit. Like the dude is still jacked, if I remember correctly.
Mad Lad says they ought to make a Dracula with a mustache. I agree.
Blah.
Have vampires been overdone yet? Can we make some kind of vampire spin-off thing?
Yeah, so like I think we can safely say vampires and zombies have been done to death. Like, what do you think is the over-under on like how long before we can do vampires and zombies again without everyone thinking that like it's part of the trend, and like before people are, like, roll their eyes? Because like
people are kind of sick of zombies now, unless you have like a unique twist on it. And vampires, they've kind of slowed down a little bit. They're still like What We Do in the Shadows, but it's kind of making fun of all the vampire culture most of the time. But I think zombies have a longer time to refresh than vampires, because like
I think they went harder on zombies.
Walking Dead just got like pretty bland, I think, and now that just ended recently, like I don't know, a few years ago or something. So people are probably still a little
burnt out.
There hasn't been anything too vampire-y in a minute, I don't think.
Yeah,
I mean, there is always stuff, but like there's literally like 2 vampire movies that came out this year. Now that I'm just thinking about it for 5 seconds.
Right, Remington.
The one about Remington and then
Renfield,
and then the one on the boat or whatever.
Oh yeah, that just dropped too. Which actually, when I saw the trailers for that, I was kind of like, that actually does look fun though. Like,
looks fun.
I'll watch it.
Looks fun. I like that concept of like, you're trapped here with this thing. There's, you know,
that's a great
fun. Kind of like The Thing or something.
Yeah, a movie where you're trapped. Like any movie where somebody's trapped in a bad situation and they have to get out of it, or they have to survive long enough that they can leave, is like, it's a solid premise right there. Like every movie, you kind of have to have a ticking clock, or you don't necessarily have to have a ticking clock, but a ticking clock really invigorates a plot, and so like that's a built-in ticking clock right there.
Also, locking people in a place makes it more fun, because otherwise you're watching this movie and you're like, why are these people so stupid? Just
Yeah, why don't they just
go away from this place, and you're good to go.
Get in the car and drive.
Yeah. Why'd you run upstairs from the killer? There's no escape upstairs.
Exactly. So that movie does look fun. And Mad Lad says, I think you can always make a concept work with the right story. Yeah, but it's just when I think of, like, there was a period of time where you could not escape zombie content, and I feel like for a shorter period of time. I feel like they went harder on zombies than they did on vampires, but I feel like vampires was also big for a brief moment in time where like everyone was trying to do vampire content, you know?
Yeah. I think Mad Lad's totally right that anything's fair game if you write good, but if it's like, if people are burned down on it, then you better have something really original up your sleeve, or else people are going to be, if you're just kind of rolling out the same old zombie or vampire thing, people, you know, are more sick of it now. Yeah. Or at certain points in time.
Yeah. Like there was like, yeah, I just remember when Walking Dead was huge and everyone was kind of chasing that like clout essentially, and like vampires zombies was like everywhere. And like if you were to ask me now, like what is the kind of like, what is the everywhere, you know, like what properties came out that was also zombies during that period of time, I don't think I can name any of them. Like for all I know,
they were just trying to latch onto trends.
Yeah. Like I couldn't, like for all I know, it's all like made up in my head, and I was just like tired of seeing Walking Dead shit everywhere. But I do think that it was like actually being pumped out. Like I guess
I think you're right.
So it's an interesting thing to consider. But yeah, I think vampires have less of a cooldown if we're gonna use it in like RPG terms.
I think their cooldown has been going longer than the zombie one. Like they've already kind of taken it easy for a little while on that. So that clock's already been ticking longer.
Yeah. So you know, so like when Renfield came out, and when this new vampire movie, the ship of the blah blah blah, ship of Theseus, not ship of Theseus, Zombieland is good. Zombieland was one of the good things that came out during that vampire boom.
I never saw the new one, but I heard it was bad.
Yeah, I didn't see it either.
I'm willing to accept that it just doesn't exist.
Yeah. Zombieland 1 was a lot of fun, though. I remember seeing that in theaters with some. That was a good time.
I enjoyed it a lot.
But like Zombieland was kind of the trailers for Zombieland made it actually seem much different, I feel like, than the actual movie was, because the movie was more just straightforward zombie movie. Whereas I felt like the trailers almost made it seem like a game show where you fight zombies. That's kind of like the vibe I got before we went and saw it.
Yeah.
Like Twisted Metal, but with zombies or some shit like that. But
the trailer made it seem more like there was some of it in the movie, but I think they made it seem more like it was going to be like this, like
zombie hunters
Guide to the Galaxy, but for zombies type thing. Like there's like a narrator explaining like the whole. I don't know. That's kind of the vibe I got. But I liked it a lot. It was good.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember like seeing the trailers and thinking like, oh, so is this a movie where people hunt zombies for fun? No, it's just like standard zombie movie, but it's like, you know, it's funny. It's a funny zombie movie, which is fine. I mean, that's a great. Mad Lad says, ever seen 30 Days of Night? No, but I do love the concept. I
have
know
seen that.
You have seen it. Okay, I want to see it. But
I don't remember if I. So I saw it in theaters, so that tells you how long ago I've seen it last. I don't recall. I remember at the time being kind of lukewarm on it, but that doesn't really mean anything. It was so long ago. My tastes have changed, so I don't know whether I would like it more now or less or whatever. But
right,
I do love the concept. It's a cool concept.
Yeah, conceptually, I think it's a very good idea. And yeah, that's the thing, is I think vampires less so, because again, when Renfield came out this year, no one was like, oh, it's another fucking vampire movie. Like, I feel like that cooldown has cooled down. Like, I think you can make a zombie property. People aren't gonna roll their eyes.
They already made the best vampire movie ever.
What Were You in the Shadows?
And it's called... No, I was gonna say Vampire's Kiss.
Oh. That is
vampire
a
movie
movie
that's not even about a vampire.
Yeah, that is the funny thing about Vampire's Kiss is it's not actually about a vampire. It's actually a semi-comedic
Mental
look
health.
on declining mental health. Yeah.
God, it's great.
It's a
Love
great movie.
that.
It's not really supposed to be funny. It's sort of like just like what's supposed to be a character tragedy, but Nick Cage brings it so hard in that movie. It does.
You don't
circle
think it's
back
supposed to be
around.
funny at all?
I don't think it was meant to be. I think the directors were probably trying to take it very seriously, and then Nick Cage was just being Nick Cage, you know?
He went full Nick Cage.
He went full Nick Cage on it, and I think so. Because like elements of it are very funny, but I think if a different actor would do it, they wouldn't be funny and they'd be more tragic, you know?
Yeah, maybe. I can see that.
But no, it's a very, very enjoyable, good movie. I highly recommend Vampire's Kiss. Interview with a Vampire.
It's so funny because we
also a
watched
great
that.
movie.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, that is a good one. Haven't
That's
seen
okay.
that one since like high school, but it's funny because we watched Vampire's Kiss, and when we put it on, I hadn't even ever heard of it like before we put it on.
Oh, interesting.
And I ended up liking it a lot. And then like the next day at work, I was working at my restaurant, and one of the tables I was serving like brought it up randomly.
Really?
I'm like, I just saw it. It was awesome. Yeah, we were talking about somehow Nicolas Cage got brought up, and then the guy just goes, "Have you ever seen Vampire's Kiss?" And I'm like, "Yesterday for the first time."
That's crazy timing.
Yeah.
Because like so like I feel like Vampire's Kiss got sort of revitalized in the discourse by there's that classic video on YouTube called Nick Cage Loses His Shit, I believe is what it's called. And like half of the clips from Nicolas Cage Loses His Shit is from Vampire's Kiss. Because
Gotcha.
like Nick Cage is like so much of that movie is Nick Cage just fucking losing his mind. So it's like if you were to watch that video again, it'd be, you know, like they have like the classic scene where Nick Cage is like, what? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z.
Didn't have to do the whole alphabet, but he made a choice.
He makes choices. Like that's the thing is I feel bad for the people who made that movie. I think they were trying to make a very serious movie, and Nicolas Cage was probably also trying to make a serious movie, but Nick Cage is also Nicolas Cage. But nowadays, everyone knows that that's what Nick Cage is going to do is, like, when you ask Nick Cage to be Nick Cage, he's going to bring that unhinged Coppola blood to it, you know?
He does. He has Coppola blood flowing through his veins.
Right.
I don't think that movie would have been that good if it weren't for him.
Oh,
So,
God, no. Yeah, no.
despite whether
makes
he
it.
like you like said you feel bad for the filmmakers, but they needed him.
They did, but I mean, that movie was a horrific failure in the box office, so, like,
Okay.
they never worked again, but,
Gotcha.
you know, like nowadays, like I say the poor filmmakers because I'm sure that like when they hired Nick Cage for the role, they expected maybe a more straightforward performance, and then Nick Cage found out it's a movie about a guy like essentially losing his mind, and he was like, okay, I got
I know how to do that.
Yeah, I can do that. And so they got probably a very different performance than they really wanted, but I mean they cut it together that way, so like they probably had less unhinged takes that they could have used. But yeah,
You're doing a lot of assuming.
I'm doing a lot of assuming is really well because it's all we can do, you know, for a movie that was made
That's true.
back in the 80s, I want to say. But yeah, it's definitely
Great. Go check it out.
Yeah, I highly
Fun.
recommend it.
It's a trip.
It really is. It's a hell of a ride. Brandon, do you want to take a quick 5-minute break while I refill my water and
Yeah, I was gonna ask you the same thing about 10 minutes ago, but we were chatting it up.
talking about Nicolas Cage, and you can't stop for that. Yeah.
No,
All right, folks.
can't stop, won't stop.
Can't stop. Addicted to the shindig. All right, folks, we are back.
Wow. You're so dominant.
Meow.
Wait, I do have it. Hold on.
Wow.
All right.
I need to fix my stream deck. I think it's plugged into a USB where it's not getting enough power, I think.
Interesting.
So it just kind of like doesn't do anything right now, and so I need to get that figured out because I miss the power, having the power in my hands.
You had
Being able to Owen Wilson at any time.
You had to give it up.
Mad Lad says, "Wow."
I'll go through all of them.
Wow. 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 Wow, you're so dominant.
We should. You should get the since we get so many Willem Dafoe requests here. You should get that. I'm a bit of a whatever he says myself. It's become a meme.
Oh yeah,
I'm a bit. The original line.
What does he say in the original line? I'm a bit of a scientist myself.
Scientist? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then maybe we could fill in the blank with something.
I'm a bit of a poop myself. That's definitely.
Some people do some fun stuff on their Discord or Twitch that I wish I knew how to do. Like I've seen people who like certain comments, like when they subscribe, it reads them out loud in like an AI voice or something. Like it'd be fun to do, like Willem Dafoe.
Oh yeah, that's not actually too complicated to set up. Like we actually do, I think, already have easy capability of setting up the TTS, and like we can make it so you have to donate like $3 or something like that to do it. Doing the AI voice of a specific person is not like, I'm sure it'd probably be easy to figure out with like a little bit of tweaking. I'd be down. That'd be a lot of fun.
It doesn't even necessarily be that. It could be fun to like have like a weird robot character that pops up or something.
Yeah, I would love to have it where, so like, I don't know how we'd do it, but Doug has this great thing where like he has an AI, like he has the same thing happen, but he knows how to code. So like he has it so it like does like a flappy head sort of thing for when like it reads the comment. So it's like it does the the flappy head thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and that's
or it'd be fun if we could have like a
very funny
rig up a character to like ChatGPT or something and talk to it.
Yeah. So like what he did recently in one is he set up a 3D model of the spy from Team Fortress 2, but he put a Napoleon hat on it and then hooked it up to like ChatGPT. So like, and like he also like set it up so his Twitch chat could choose what moves to play on a chessboard. And so what he did was his chat was the black team and Napoleon was the white team, and Napoleon was allowed to cheat and do whatever he wanted. And the Twitch chat had to try and beat Napoleon. So like Doug would say, "All right, Napoleon, what are you gonna do?" And then Napoleon would go on like this big long diatribe being, yes, my military calculations are so good. I've decided what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this and that, and they will be trembling before me." Like he goes on like a whole thing. But like he also set it up so like the spy like was actually like he would like kind of cycle through these different animations, but his mouth was clearly lip syncing to the AI voice. So it was like he had a whole thing set up because he knows how to code, so he could do that.
Yeah, it would be cool if we had those resources.
That would be cool to, someday we'll be able to hire somebody who knows how to program to do the shit we want.
And we do all sorts of stuff here, but we can't do it all.
We can only do so much, you guys. I don't know how to Java.
We animate, we make music, we draw, we have puppets, we edit videos, we do it all. But we can't do that. We don't know how.
I can't do that. I am actually working on a game in October.
Oh.
Yeah,
Are you able to tell me more?
Yeah, I'm able to tell you more. So basically, I'm part of like a Discord group. It's like a bunch of people who were in the University of the Arts animation program. And I wasn't in the animation program, but I did animation, and I was very good friends with a good amount of them. So like we're all in a Discord chat, and a lot of those folks have actually gone on to work in game dev. Like the one guy, Greg, he's worked on Ion Maiden, or I guess it's a different name now for the game. Ion Fury, I think, is now the proper name for it.
Okay.
Or I think he works for the company that made that game at least now. But the one guy, Paul, he worked on Mortal Kombat X.
Oh.
And a couple of them have worked in, and the one guy, Vince, who used to be a roommate of mine, he does character animation for video games now. so like a lot of them have worked in game dev. So I forget how this came up, but Paul was talking about making a horror game or something like that, and I was like, oh yeah, I've got a bunch of ideas for horror games. Like, this is an idea I've been sitting on for a couple years now for a horror game. And Paul was like, let's make it for a Halloween game jam. And I was like,
That's
okay.
amazing.
So Paul's been like sending us like prototypes of him like essentially coding out the gameplay mechanics. Yeah, I sent him a 3D model of a tree that I made earlier today actually. And the idea behind the game is it's going to be like a story game, so it's not like, my goal is to make this as simple as possible so that like it's not like a crazy like concept or anything like that, but the idea is it's like a story game and you're a kid and you do a bunch of chores to kind of like get the money to go to a water park, and then as you do the chores, if you like do the chores in a specific way, you start finding like pieces of a dead body in like the basement of these folks you're doing these odd jobs for. And that's the horror game concept essentially, is like you sort of uncover this horrible grisly past through these mini games.
Does the game have the aura of a horror game when it starts, or does it slowly turn into that as you like uncover stuff?
It's we're going for like, it seems like a cozy game at first.
Okay,
then,
yeah, that's what I love.
Yeah, and then it shifts to
misdirect.
Yeah, exactly. But then the name of the game, I'm calling it This Town Has Secrets. So like the name of the game is already kind of foreboding. So it's kind of like, you know, the name of the game is weird, but then everything else about it is cozy until you, you know, find essentially these basements with the body parts in them, and then it turns into a horror game like on a dime.
Man, I love that. I need to find a friend who makes video games that
You
I
can
help with. I just don't know how to do anything.
We're gonna do the characters as 2D sprites. So I mean, if you want to make some 2D sprites for characters,
I might be down. Are you you're gonna do them like pixel?
Yeah, pixel characters.
Art?
But everything else is gonna be 3D models and stuff, just because I think that's gonna be easier for Paul. But yeah, I talked to Paul and I was like Paul's kind of made me the game director essentially, because like anytime Paul's like got a question, he's like, so what did you want for this? And I'm just like, what if I thought maybe the one mini game would be you cut the grass, and then if you find the hole in the fence and you climb through the hole in the fence, you find the other body part.
What happens when you find all? Well, don't spoil your game here.
That we're still
Never
working
mind.
on. We're still working on that. But the idea of the game is there's two endings. Like there's the good ending where you just do all the chores and you get the money and you go to the water park. And then there's the true ending where you find all the body parts. And that we haven't figured out yet.
Is that the good ending when you're like
Oblivious?
You discovered this murders and you're just like, wee! I'm going to the water park.
Well, no, it's like if you maybe you discover like a hand bone or something like that. But the idea is like you just don't discover all the secrets, so you don't put together the murder. But like you go to the water park and you're like hunky dory, like you don't uncover the secrets. And then the true ending is like if you get all the secrets. Or maybe there's like a good ending where you don't get any secrets, a medium ending where you got some of the secrets, but you still kind of go wee.
Let's call the good ending where you don't discover any secrets. Let's refer to that as the shit. What do you call it when you're like blissfully unaware?
Ignorance is bliss.
Like the ignorant ending.
Yeah.
The ignorance ending.
Ignorant ending. The bliss ending.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the main concept behind it, and I figured, you know, this will be a fun little project to do. Like the latest from the discussion, the innocence ending. That's a good way of putting it. The latest discussion, I can just read it to you word for word real quick because it's funny. But let me find the conversation real quick.
Are you allowed to talk about all this stuff? I don't want to like.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's not like we're just making a fucking goofy little game.
Sure.
But I was like, Paul was like, so we were talking. I sent him a 3D model for a low poly tree. And I'm like, I also know how to use Unreal Engine's 3D modeling system, if that would simplify things in sending 3D models to you. And he's like, not really, we'd have to set up version control. I can look into it, but right now it'd be way easier if we just let me build the level, I ain't trying to set up server stuff. Not right now anyways. And I said, no, let's keep things as simple as possible. He's like, lol, okay, sick, thanks. Last game jam I did a year ago, half my time was spent setting up a server. Something I'm not keen on repeating if I don't have to. And I wrote, oh god, ew. No, I legitimately am hoping the complexity of this project does not go above Babby's first game. And he says, lol, I can guarantee that's what's going to happen. So.
Nice. Well, that's cool. I'm excited to see what you guys come up with.
I can show you the tree I made real quick.
Show me that tree, baby.
Using all of my 3D modeling prowess.
Oh, look at it.
That tree. Tree right there.
There it is. That's straight up a Lego tree.
Yeah.
That is a tree that exists in Lego.
Yeah, so that's like I'm doing very low poly. Because that's all I know.
Well, that's cool though. That's fine. I mean, I like that as like an aesthetic too.
Yeah.
Whether it's, you know, intentional or not.
Yeah, and I'm gonna have to like make some HUD elements that are gonna be more pixel art-y. The characters I figured will be animated pixels and like not very animated. It's gonna be like.
What are you gonna do your pixel art in?
So I considered buying Ace Sprite. I think is how you pronounce it, Ace Sprite. Which is like the pixel art program that like anyone who does pixel art swears by.
Okay.
But it's like $20, and I don't have $20. I guess actually I do because you just sent me $20, but I really need that.
Yeah,
for
but
other
I mean,
things.
Yeah, you need it for other things. So you don't have $20.
So like if I set up a grid, it'll be more tedious. But if I were to set up a grid, I could make sprites in Clip Studio Paint essentially. But I don't know. It might be worth doing it in Ace Sprite just because like those are like formatted to set up like sprite sheets. Like it's like made for.
That's kind of why I was asking. Is because I've done some pixel stuff in the past, and I don't really have any way to do it now. So I've like, not that I've like been wanting to, but like the occasional time that I'm trying to, I'm like, I don't even know what program to work in for that. Anymore.
I'll send you a link to it because it is like the one, like if you talk to anyone who does pixel art, I'm just going to put it in the chat because I'll be for
please
everybody. It's sold on Steam. But yeah, it's like if you're trying to do pixel art, if you do pixel art, if you talk to somebody who does pixel art, they swear by Ace Sprite.
Cool. Well then, I suppose it's probably pretty good. I'll check that out.
Highly recommend. I can't speak for it, but everyone else sure does, and they say very, very good things about it. So for $20 for a quick game jam, we might sell the game for like $1 or like 50 cents. I'm gonna have to talk with them about price point. We might give it away for free. Maybe it's like, you know, put it on itch.io with the pay what you want.
If I get Ace Sprite, I'll let you know.
Yeah, and then I'll just use your Steam copy.
Yeah, actually. Seems like a win-win.
I do like pixel art. Pixel art is fun to do.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's sort of the concept or the idea right now is how we'll do it. So
very cool.
I gotta talk to Paul because like so in Unreal Engine there is sort of support for having like 2D sprites as your character models because like we're doing it in Unreal because we're not doing it in Unity, that's for sure.
I was gonna say you're gonna use Unity.
Yeah, no. Paul swears by the Unreal Engine anyway. Like that's what he's like.
I think the Unity the Unity thing is total bullshit. They suck. That's dumb. But it wouldn't affect you. I think it only affects if you sell like if you make like $1 million off your thing or something. But still, it's dumb.
It's super dumb. And I think they've walked it back now since, but I haven't actually like watched any of the videos that give it the update on what they've said most recently. So I don't know the latest in the Unity news. I'm a little behind on my videos. But yeah, Paul swears by Unreal Engine. He's worked in it before. I'm not sure if he worked in it for Mortal Kombat X, but he did work in Unreal Engine, and he shows us like little demos of what he's working on in Unreal a lot of the times. Actually, he's been trying to like convince people to like get good at Niagara, which is like their particle physics engine in Unreal, because he says that there's a lot of work to be found doing like real-time special effects.
Is this Paul that worked on
he's the chief.
Okay, cool.
One and the same.
So many talented friends.
I know. more
crazy.
talented than us, I think sometimes.
Oh well, yeah, totally. But you know,
We're talented.
Not a
I shit on us, but
yeah, no,
you know,
I feel happy with what I'm able to do. But yeah, there's tons of more talented people than me, and that's okay. That's not I'm not trying to be the most talented one there
competition.
ever was.
Yeah.
It's just cool that I like get to interact with these people. It's very inspiring and awesome.
So yeah, I mean, if you want to do character sprites for This Town Has Secrets,
You should create like a character or two, like a sketch, and you don't have to do it in pixel art, but just so that you kind of can set like a
I'll actually
style guide, and it can be not pixel art, but then you know when if I get to making pixel art, I can kind of go to try to kind of match the style.
yeah, I'll do that for you. I actually did. I'm gonna send these to you right now. It's gonna take not a lot of time, but it might take a little bit of time, like 2 minutes. But I did actually put together a brief, ever so brief, like essentially like a sketch, like a series of images that are kind of like meant to sort of show what the vibe of the game is. Like I put it together so that Paul could kind of see what I had in mind for this project. So I'm actually just gonna send those to you right now.
Cool. I would like to see that.
Yeah. 1 sec. So it's gonna just be a little bit of copy pasting real quick. And then, but yeah, it's like I kind of like put together a little bit of a presentation, a little slideshow of images to showcase what.
I want to have all the time and money to just make things all the time.
I know.
Is that so much to ask?
Right? Jeez, it's not a lot.
Just somebody with money and resources hire me to create things to my little heart's content.
Yeah,
just do that for me, why don't you?
It'd be kind of cool if like this project like popped off just like a little bit, and then like if people like we put it on like the store for like $1 maybe, and then people like bought it. It'd be cool.
Totally.
And because that would be like a little bit of money for us, and then maybe we could leverage that into a slightly more ambitious project. Because I do got a couple of like fun little horror game ideas in my brain that I think would be fun and easy to like. I came up with them because they'd be easy and kind of fun to do. But I never had anyone who was willing to actually like code the shit. And now Paul's like super. Paul like keeps telling me like every other day he'll post like, man, I'm kind of hype on this, and I'm like,
oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
It's funny how things like that change, and how like the things you end up working on that you might not have never expected. Like, I mean, so we went to like we mentioned Clock Crew earlier, and so all that was like pretty much animation. We did a lot of it, and then as I got a little bit older, people would be like, "Oh, you want to be an animator or something like that?" I'm like, "No, I'm good." I'm like, animation is just like too much time and effort. Like it's not what I'm into. Blah blah. Blah. Now here we are animating a bunch of stuff.
I know, right? It is funny how I could have gone to school for animation, and I was like, no, I want to learn how to draw better, so I'm going to go for illustration. And then I didn't do animation for like 5 to 10 years. And then, you know, I watched Lord Spew stream just a little bit. That gets me back in animation, and then we, that kind of gave us the impetus, I think, to do the Joel Haver thing. And just kind of funny how that all worked out. And the Joel Haver thing, I think, was the real boot to kind of get this all started. It's kind of funny.
Yeah. But
someday we'll have to like.
It's been fun. I've been enjoying it a lot, regardless of whether it ever like amounts to anything besides just personal satisfaction, which it does, at least in that regard.
Yeah, I'm very satisfied personally with what we've been able to put together. I'm like happy to say, like, I'm very proud of the work we've done. And that's cool, and that's awesome. I did send you all that stuff. Now you can watch it when we're not on stream, but it should kind of, it's like the vibe slideshow I put together for Paul to kind of get the idea of what we're doing.
Cool. Nice.
So that's interesting, but like when I think about it, I'm like, okay, cool, we're doing this little game now, and then I'm also just like, oh fuck, what have I done to my schedule? I'm gonna be doing so much shit in October.
So many things.
Many things. So many
Too
things.
many things. Mad Lad says, y'all were definitely the standout from the Joel Haver thing to me. Thank you for saying that. I'm glad someone feels that way.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Well, I'm not afraid to
We're
admit
still
it.
reeling from the pain.
Yeah, like we almost didn't do Dr. Catastrophe's Fantastic Menagerie because Joel Haver kind of like announced the second year of the Oscars contest the same time he also announced the winners from last year's. And when we didn't get picked, like we weren't planning, like we were kind of like always like, it'd be cool if we got picked because we did such a new and unique thing, but like, when do we ever win things? And we still didn't get picked and we were kind of still super fucking bummed out.
I think we were okay with that, but the fact that even like the honorable mentions, we didn't even get anything. We were just like, oh.
Yeah, we didn't get honorable mention.
Hurts.
And also, he showcased another animation that sort of did what we did, but I feel like in a less ambitious
Yeah,
context.
we're biased, but they did the same kind of tech we did, and they, in my biased opinion, did it not as well. Not to be salty, but I'm just,
They did a different
I'm not
application
salty.
of
I'm
it.
just, I just liked ours better. Like, as unbiased as I can be saying that.
Ours was more of like a movie. Theirs was kind of like a live stream situation that they turned into a movie, which is fine. They did a different thing. It did kind of hurt to have like a different animation get called, because we were like the first animation to submit. Like we were like we were the first animation. Goddamn.
And when he talked about it, he's like, I can't believe it. Somebody made an animation, and we're like, hello.
Hey, did you see our movie?
It's all right. It's
So,
fine.
like,
I mean,
we did get like knocked on our ass a little bit emotionally when that happened, but then like after 2 days of like kind of reeling, we realized like, oh shit, like the Oscars are like in 2 days. We should.
are we gonna do this again?
We're gonna do this again. I feel like we should, and we did. And
Yeah, I'm glad we did. And
I'm
happy about everything we made. I don't really. It would have been cool to get like some kind of recognition, but it's fine. Like now that that's all over with, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. I wasn't like gonna like live or die if like we got mentioned in Joel's video. It was just kind of like it would have been cool, and then it didn't happen, and it was kind of a bummer. But like whatever.
Fine, it's fine.
Thank you for saying that we were the standout. Though I do appreciate that, Mad Lad. That was very nice of you to say.
That's very nice. I don't like regret making it or anything like that. Like in fact, it's like one of my favorite things I've worked on in a long time.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it's all good.
It's
I'm
like
glad
it
we had a
completely
reason to make it.
It completely shifted my priorities in terms of like what I've been doing for the last year, I would say, right?
Yeah, we kind of, came up with a whole bunch of new project ideas and stuff like that from that.
So it was a net good. And like now the YouTube channels
Totally.
Like
wouldn't change a thing. Well, actually, I would change. If I changed it, we would win.
We would win. Yeah, that's the one thing I would change.
That'd be the one change.
But no, we like it like as a like if there was like there's that meme of the guy pushing the small domino and it like hits the largest domino, and like the first one is like Joel Haver starts his Oscars challenge, and then the last domino is currently like our YouTube channel has 900 subscribers on it, and we've pivoted to focusing super hardcore on making animations and stuff. So it's interesting.
Sure. Plus the stuff we've been putting out, like I'm just really proud of it, and I like it a lot. And
I'm very proud.
I'm enjoying doing it.
And Lisa's got some designs for, and not designs in terms of the visual sense, but in terms of like machinations for what she's gonna try and do with Empty Head Buffet.
Yeah, next steps, stuff like that.
Which is cool. I'm glad that we've got her in our corner.
Yeah, she's great.
It's been great working with her. I'm actually really glad that we're
just taking all these talented people and sucking them into our bubble so that we can ride their coattails.
That's exactly what we've done. Is we got like a whole bunch of talented folks who can do things that we can't, and then we were like, hey, do you want to like do these things? And then amazingly they've said yes, which it blows my mind still.
All these suckers.
What the fuck is wrong with these guys?
And we'll wring that sponge dry by the time they realize that it was a waste of their time, and then we'll move on to the next person to just, we're like witches absorbing children to stay youthful.
Yeah. There's this horrible movie I watched when I was dating Ryan, and we watched like a bunch of bad movies together. She and I were the original bad movie night, in all honesty, and she was willing to dig through the trash like I was, as long as it was like a horror movie. She loved watching bad horror movies with me. I assume she could have also just been putting up with it for all I know, but I like to think she liked it too. But we watched one really bad horror movie called Life Changer, which I talked about this the last episode because I talked about how I used AI to help me fucking find the name of it because I couldn't.
Oh, right, yeah.
Because Google searches were not doing it, and then I asked an AI, and it was just like, oh yeah, it's Life Changer, and I'm like, thank you, Google couldn't tell me this shit. But in that movie, again, the premise was there's this monster, and it's told from the monster's perspective, where like every night at like midnight, he's got to absorb a person, and then he takes on that person's form, or else he dies. That's what we do. We're Life Changer.
Yeah. Leviathan Den's here. Welcome.
Whoa.
Sorry, I'm super late. Just got off work.
God damn.
Congrats on your escape. How was
work day?
Work?
Hope it was good. I hope you got paid for all that time.
Yeah.
But yeah, Life Changer, not a good movie, but a fun. You know what? It's a shame that Life Changer was not a good movie because it is a fun concept. But they just didn't make a very good movie out of it.
Well,
yeah.
If there's one part that you have to do right, it's that the movie is good.
Yeah, I would say.
So,
yeah.
Hard to come back from that.
Just it's a small detail, but maybe the movie should have been good instead of bad.
Maybe next time we'll try that.
Yeah,
not to try to backseat.
Not to backseat direct,
but just an idea that they should float.
Try making a good movie next time, idiot. Oh boy. But no, I'm very thrilled with the projects we've done lately. I'm very glad. It's also been cool because it's kind of interesting. Like I felt like I learned DaVinci under the gun a little bit.
You did.
Which is very cool because like I had actually tried to learn DaVinci earlier. Because what happened was, and I still actually have this project file, and I'm still intending to finish this at some point. I just have to actually finish it, which would actually not take, it would take like a day to finish this, but I still just have been sitting on my hands. But when we had the Minecraft server, we had our buddy Aaron record footage of him and his flying machine flying through the end endlessly.
Forgot about this flying machine.
Yeah.
Man, what a fun server that was.
That was a fun server. I want to say let's do it again, but I feel like we should wait a little longer before we set up the Minecraft.
Minecraft is one of those games where I play the shit out of it once, like every 4 years, and then I get so sick of it that I don't play it for another like 4 years, and then
yeah,
next time we jump in, there'll be a whole bunch more new stuff. There's already been like 3 updates since we stopped playing. So
that's true. Yeah,
it's good. It's good to just wait and then jump back in.
It is a shame that server fell off because we did have a lot of fun times on that server, just like watching all of the Red Letter Media videos.
Yeah.
We watched a lot of bad movies while we were playing on that server. That was like in the...
I think I have the file somewhere still, so it's not like it all went to...
Nice.
In the trash or anything like that.
That was a fun server. I mean, we did beat the game on that server, which I feel like is right when everyone I feel like everyone kind of was starting to get sick of it. And then so we all made that like quest to beat the Ender Dragon as a group.
I think once everybody had like Elytra,
yeah,
then we kind of fell off.
Yeah.
But
yeah, we had a lot of fun on that server. That was like height of pandemic too, so like that was like,
yeah, so it was just like
no one had anything else to
didn't
do.
matter. You could just play Minecraft as long as you wanted, and then you'll get 3 hours of sleep and come back and play more Minecraft because outside was danger.
Yeah.
Mad Lad says, "Love me some Minecrafting." Yeah, next time we have one up, maybe we'll make it like a DrawBomb server thing. We can have the community join in if they want.
Put out some DrawBomb invites. The server, the Discord server is like not populated enough. Where if we were to put the server info, I wouldn't be too concerned with like riff.
There's too many projects I want to do. There's too many projects I want to do. Like, so I never do anything. I usually only like do one thing like full on, and the rest of the stuff just kind of sits.
Yeah.
But I would love to take some time and make the Discord a little bit more of a useful thing. Because I love the idea of having one. It's just I haven't stopped to like sit down and make it something that, you know, work on it.
It's
I know you put a lot of work into it, but I haven't really done anything to it myself.
I mean, yeah, it's that like you said, there's like a lot we want to do. We have a lot of projects already kind of like, we have a lot of irons on the fire, and I actually think it's better to put your all into one project at a time, at least if you're gonna like have a capacity
whole ass one thing instead of half-assing a bunch of things. I think it's the Ron Swanson quote.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's like it's good that you do it that way, because that does mean that thing you whole ass does get done, which is, it's better to have a one done thing than like 8 half done things, you know?
Yeah, at least have something to show for your time versus all these incomplete projects.
Yeah. I'd have to think of another Resident Evil thing to build. Oh, so you built like some like one of the areas from Resident Evil?
I wasn't sure if that was what the RE meant.
That's my assumption. Just because when I see RE like that, but also I've been editing together like the video of you playing Resident Evil in VR like into vertical format, so maybe I'm biased.
Talking about learning DaVinci, I have to say you're a good friend to have, because you're like I want to learn DaVinci, so I'm gonna scrub through like 12 hours of you playing a video game, pull out all the funny stuff, edit some fun stuff in, do it all for free. And then there's just this awesome project that like has my face on it that I didn't know work for. I just got to play a video game. And you're like, I don't like editing myself. So I'll just do like a bunch of your, like, that's shit that people would pay a lot of money for, and you're just doing it for me for free.
What can I say? I'm a good guy.
Wow, humble too.
I did it for Matt too, because you know, I felt like Matt needed some love, and no, it is those videos are a little bit my love letters to you guys. They're kind of, that's my love language.
Editing videos. Well, I appreciate it, man. I love those videos.
I'm glad you guys like those videos.
You're a great editor. Like I feel like there's an editing job out there for you somewhere.
I would love it. I see like so many YouTubers who are like, oh, this video was edited by this guy, and I'm just like, okay, but like, where are y'all finding these job postings? Because I'm free, I'm available. This one guy.
Would it be like not good to just like DM creators with some of your work?
So like, here's the thing. I don't think it's necessarily bad form, but I don't think a lot of creators check. Because I feel like creators probably get their inboxes like blown up constantly by like people kind of like pick me people trying to be like pick me, you know. So I assume So I'm like
trying to latch on to someone else's.
Yeah. Like there's also a lot of content creators who, and I completely understand why they would do this, but there's a lot of content creators who specifically try and hire people who are not trying to like get a channel of their own to blow up, you know. Because
that's true.
You know, no one wants to be a stepping stone, so it's like
so our channel is the reason we can't get work.
This guy's kind of just a little bit
ironic.
It is ironic. Isn't that ironic? Yeah. Okay. Mad Lads
today on the radio.
Really? Was it raining?
Yep. No. It wasn't my wedding day either. She might think so. I mean, based on the other examples she lists, that might be something she would consider ironic.
Yeah, this is not exactly. People have talked. Many paragraph.
Yeah, we're not the first. I'm not gonna go down that road, but you know.
Yeah.
There really is one thing.
What was that?
I said, yeah. I really do think.
Oh yeah. I remember, I think, speaking of crack.com, they did a video way back in the day where it was like her ironic, but the lyrics were changed to actually make all of her scenarios ironic. So it's like the one where it's like the person who's afraid to fly and they get on a plane and the flight crashes, and then like they have like a person quickly say at the very end of the verse, as they're on their way to flight therapy or like, you know, fear flying therapy, you know. So it's
Did
like
she get any, are any of her examples correct? There's got to be some good ones in there. None?
I don't think so, no.
A million spoons when all you need is a knife? Is that ironic?
I don't think that's ironic. I think that's just bad planning. So like, what would
maybe
make
it's not planning. You know, you find a fact. You're like, oh, I don't know why you need a knife so bad. I need a knife.
What would make
to break out of this factory that's a spoon factory?
Yeah,
knife.
So like, what would make that scenario ironic? Is like if you have a million spoons and you need a knife.
Okay, so maybe we should break down what irony really is.
Yeah.
Is it unexpected? Is it something unexpected, or it has to be more like on the nose, like
no? So like dramatic irony. So like for instance, there's an episode of Frasier where Frasier thinks so like Frasier's dad is trying to solve a murder that he's been trying to solve for 30 years, and then Frasier takes a look at it. He thinks he solved it. He thinks it's a monkey that did the murder.
Right,
and then
I remember that one.
His father comes to the table and finally, like, because Frasier's rearranged the pictures, the father looks at the table and he sees, oh, hey, I've put together the murder too. He solves it. So then there's a couple scenes later where all of Frasier's dad, all of Martin's friends at the cop place, what do you call that?
The cop store.
At the cop store. They're all hanging out talking, and then they're like congratulating Martin on solving the crime. And then Frasier's dad finds out that Frasier initially solved the murder first. So what happens is there's this very funny moment of dramatic irony, and I could be wrong, that this could not be irony at all. But Frasier's dad is like, why don't you tell the boys how you came up with your conclusion about who the murder was? So Frasier thinks it's a monkey. Frasier goes off to the kitchen to get like a bottle of wine or like refill his cup or whatever. And then someone walks up to Frasier's dad and is like, hey, so how'd you know it was the detective? And he's like, well, you see, I did this and that. So then Frasier comes back into the room, and we know now as an audience member that it was not, in fact, a monkey that committed the murder. But we also know that Frasier is just about to tell a room full of cops why he thinks a monkey committed the murder. And I think that's dramatic irony, in that we know something that is in direct opposition to... This might be a bad example. I feel like that's dramatic irony. But when I say it out loud, I have a harder time.
I don't...
I'm gonna Google examples.
I was gonna say we said we weren't gonna go down this rabbit hole, but now I need to.
Now we gotta. Examples of irony. In an ironic phrase, one thing is said while another thing is meant. For example, if it were a cold, rainy, gray day, you might say, "What a beautiful day." Ironic. But there's also 3 types of irony. I'm looking at a little helpful infographic here now. There's verbal irony, which is like sarcasm. Yay, great weather. There's a little rain cloud over the girl. There's dramatic irony, which is a secret only the audience knows. So what I said is kind of dramatic irony, where we know that Frasier is wrong. Frasier thinks he's right, and he's about to make a complete idiot of himself.
It often seems to have something to do with opposites. I'm seeing also.
Yeah, it's very much opposite things. Whereas a lot of what who wrote the ironic song? I'm blanking on the name.
Alanis Morissette.
Alanis Morissette, thank you. Her song is more just like, doesn't this thing suck? Doesn't it suck to have rain on your wedding day? Like, those aren't opposites. Like, it's like rain on your wedding day would be ironic if your family was vampires and they'll die if they get rained on, you know? That would be...
Do vampires can get wet?
No, they can't.
What?
Yeah, vampires aren't... according to, like, traditional lore, vampires are not allowed to get wet.
Oh my god, I have to open a new tab. New tab. Thought that was witches. I'm melting.
I'm melting. Okay, in traditional European lore, vampires cannot cross running water. Are vampires affected by rain? Running water is meant to imply natural sources of permanent water that moves. Rain or emptying your water skin on Strahd. Oh, this is strictly D&D related, this one right here. Okay, so I guess it's not all water. It is holy water, but running...
Must be like tangents.
Yeah, this is... Yeah, welcome to Tangents. So yeah, so it's running water specifically. So like vampires are not allowed to cross rivers or moats or things like that. But water in general will not hurt a vampire, I guess.
Gosh, man, all these rules. Like, all I want to do is be... Yeah, Mad Lad says this is the vampire stream.
Yeah.
Come back around.
Yeah.
All I want to do is be undead and drink some people's neck juice. I don't want now. What? I can't do mirrors. I can't do garlic. I love garlic. I can't fucking go out in the sun. It rains on me, and that's ironic. All this is bullshit.
This fucking sucks, dude. I'm looking at 10 examples of irony right now. What were you gonna say though before I go into that?
I don't know. Nothing good.
Okay. Nothing good. Nothing good can come from what I was gonna say. So here are 10 examples of irony according to brainly.ph. So,
Here's an episode of Frasier.
So the episode of Frasier, and Frasier thinks a monkey did it. But no, here are, and this is submitted by a user. 162 people found this helpful. This was loved by the community. There was 162 thanks. So I would say people, the common clay of the West, said that these are correct. But one, a fire station burns down. A marriage counselor files for divorce.
Okay, so but that first one sounds like something that would be in the Alanis Morissette song.
Yeah, but so like, what are some of the okay, let's go to Alanis Morissette. Ironic.
Fire station burns down. Is that ironic?
Not. I mean, I don't.
Here's the thing. Okay, so like, me, a person, if I were to say that, see that, I would go, that's ironic. But I mean, like, I feel like we're trying to like break it down like officially. I feel like I use it wrong most of the time.
A lot of people use irony wrong.
The real.
So like,
but yeah, to me, it's like the opposite of what you'd expect to see, like in a dramatic way, is usually my version of irony. So like, if it's just like, wow, I never would have. That's so the opposite of what I would have expected to see. That to me feels ironic, and I know that might not be correct, but that's just the way that I have always interpreted it.
Yeah, I think a better example of
rain
irony,
on your wedding day is not one of those things.
Yeah, rain on your wedding day is not ironic. That's just bad luck. But so I think a better example though of irony is not the fire station burning down. It's the fire station burning down while teaching a fire safety course. That I think would be ironic. As you're teaching fire safety and you burn the building down. That would, I think, be irony. Or like, teaching a gun safety seminar and then shooting yourself by accident. That would be ironic.
Yeah, that'd be ironic.
It's like shooting yourself in the fucking face.
It's like... I'm sorry, I'm too busy trying to find these
like
fucking...
a vampire goes out in the rain.
Okay, so I'm looking at the lyrics of Alanis Morissette's Ironic right now. I have fully stopped drawing.
I think we're near the end of the show anyway, so that's okay.
Yeah, we are. A death row inmate gets pardoned 2 minutes too late. Is that ironic, or is that just bad timing?
That one feels... Okay, so if I were the judge of these, I would say that one feels ironic.
You die, you get executed.
I think... They pull the switch that you're in the electric chair, you get killed, and then all of a sudden, like, the cop runs in and he's like, stop the thing, he's been pardoned. That feels ironic to me. You get killed seconds before you would have been good to go.
Yeah.
I might be wrong. I'm just telling you my gut judgment. Go down the line. I'm gonna vote these ironic, not ironic.
Okay. This is a new segment called Ironic or Not Ironic. Real quick, I just want to say Zone Dog said, oh yeah, first of all, Mad Lad said that they made the Baker Mansion from Resident Evil 1 and the guest house in their one Minecraft server, which that's pretty cool. So it was Resident Evil.
That is really cool.
Very cool. Zone Dog also says, but you might expect that a fire safety thing could accidentally cause a fire, but it's less expected that a fire station would just burn down. Which is fair, but I don't think a fire safety course is necessarily gonna, like, I don't think it's a given that a fire safety course is gonna have an open flame or something like that. Oh, need moment. Baker Mansion is Resident Evil 7. My bad. What's the mansion in Resident Evil 1, and is it ironic? The Spencer Mansion. I'm sorry, the Spencer Mansion is from Resident Evil 1.
Baker Mansion is Resident Evil 7.
Yeah. Oh, Mad Lad said it in the chat.
Oh yeah.
Just saying it's less ironic than the Fire Mansion. Okay. So we're gonna go through these, and you're gonna judge them if they're ironic. All right.
All right, I'm ready.
So there's an old man. He's 98 years old.
Not ironic.
But I'm not done.
Oh, there's more to it. Okay.
I'm gonna have a sound clip. That
I know. I was looking for a soundboard button where I could be like, I could hit like, isn't it ironic? Whenever I think something is, but I can't find that on the fly.
All right. So, all right, you ready for this?
All right.
I'm gonna play a sound whenever I'm done with the irony. Okay.
Zone Dog says, "Old man, but he's young." Ironic. That's so ironic.
That's an oxymoron. Okay. An old man turned 98. He won the lottery, but then he dies the very next day.
Not ironic.
There's a black fly in your Chardonnay.
Isn't ironic.
Death row inmate gets pardoned 2 minutes too late. That one you said is ironic.
I think, isn't it ironic for that one? Yep.
Yeah!
Oh, wait, yeah, okay. We have people answering in the chat. Folks, play at home yourself. See if you can guess. see, play. Post your answers. Wah. I had several ideas for sound effects. I'm like still kind of. Anyways, okay. Rain on your wedding day.
Not ironic.
A free ride, but you've already paid for it.
Not ironic.
Okay. It's good advice, but you didn't take it.
Not ironic.
And then, Mr. Play It Safe was afraid to fly, packed a suitcase, kissed his kids goodbye, waited his whole damn life to take that flight, and as the plane crashed down, he thought, well, isn't this nice? So here's the thing. The irony in that, I'm going to answer for. First of all, what are your thoughts? But I have an answer.
I think that one's slightly ironic.
What's ironic about it?
I think because he's like put off doing this his entire life, and finally the time he finally decided he was going to do it, the thing he was afraid of happened.
Okay.
After he'd like spent his entire life working up to like, it's not going to happen, and then this unlikely thing happens.
I can see you there. I'm not sure if I find
Not
that.
sure. That one's kind of riding the line.
That one's riding the line. But here's where I think the irony actually is if you're in a crashing plane and you say, "Well, isn't this nice?"
It's not nice. It's
'Cause
bad.
not nice. That's what they called verbal irony in that one.
Isn't it sarcastic?
Yeah. Rain on your wedding day, free advice, already pay. Life has a funny way of sneaking up on you. When you think you think everything's gone wrong.
That's the part where she's like, life has a funny way. That she does.
Yes. Okay, here's some more ironies. A traffic jam, but you're already late.
No.
Oh,
Not ironic.
Okay. A no smoking sign on your cigarette break.
Just go somewhere else. That's not ironic.
That's not ironic.
Yeah.
That's like
Maybe if if like the cigarette break room.
It's like the smoking
like
lounge.
a no smoking.
If there was like it was a smoking lounge and there was a no smoking sign on it.
Yeah, that's ironic. But
that's
just,
more ironic.
No, just go somewhere else, dude. That's just bad planning.
Now let's go back to the one that you brought up earlier. It's 10,000 spoons. All you need is a knife. Is that ironic?
I think you need more context, but I think it could be ironic.
Okay, so we're
I'm gonna say it's semi-ironic.
Oh, come on!
Wait, Zone Dog's typing. I have an ironic photo. I feel like the opposite is ironic. It's in the phrasing. I mean, I think I'm reading these mostly word for word. I'm trying to kind of keep them true to what Alanis Morissette is saying.
You gotta sing them if you want to be true to it.
True. Okay, this is the next.
Meeting the man of your dreams, and then meeting his wonderful wife.
Okay, so you have the lyrics pulled open now too.
No, I don't. I just remember that part.
Oh, that is the next line though.
No, that's not ironic.
Okay.
Oh, that's a shame.
And then, oh, that's it. Those are all the ironies. So what?
So
That's like
I voted maybe like two
or
points,
three, yeah.
3 points towards ironic. That's a losing score. Sorry, Alanis.
Sorry.
Oh no.
Oh no.
I think we gotta go. This is near the end of the show.
So
I don't know if we're gonna have time for that there. Just because the show has to end, so I don't think we have time for that.
Do it once.
Oh!
So yeah, Alanis Morissette's irony song. Not very ironic. Okay, so Austin says, okay, so it's like somebody says, I need a fork, and then you grab a shit ton of spoons in a row. Like, is this person, like, picking silverware at random without actually looking in the drawer? This seems, there's so much context I feel like we need. Isn't that right, Brandon? Yeah, he agrees. So yeah, I'm looking at these other irony. Oh, you're back. Welcome back. How's the brain damage?
Huh?
Yeah. So I'm looking through the rest of these ironies listed on this brainly.ph website where some rando just sort of wrote a bunch of ironies, and these get less ironic as the post goes on.
Maybe that's the irony.
Fire station burns down. A marriage counselor files for divorce. The police station gets robbed. And then this is where I think it starts to peter out a little bit. A pilot has a fear of heights.
That's ironic, because he's chosen a line of work where he has to be up high.
But he's still standing on a floor.
That's not how heights work.
That's not how being afraid of heights works either.
If you're on the top of a building, it doesn't mean that you're not scared of heights, because there's a floor under you.
Yeah, but like I'm afraid of heights, but when I ride a plane, I'm not afraid of heights. I'm afraid of the plane.
Well, you're afraid of it falling?
No, I'm afraid of the plane falling. I'm not afraid I'll fall. Like, because when I'm afraid of heights, I'm afraid I'll tumble.
Are you afraid of sitting in a parked plane as much as you are of one that's in the sky?
No, but that's because the plane isn't able to die. Like,
come on, there's a middleman here, but it's heights. I'm afraid of heights.
Okay. A fireman afraid of fire.
Well, that's just kind of the same thing. Like, oh, you picked a line of work where you have to deal with the thing you're most scared of. But aren't most firemen afraid of fire?
I think everyone's afraid of fire, in all honesty.
Yeah, if you're smart, like,
yeah,
you should be afraid of fire. It's it's hot.
Yeah. A post about irony, but most of the stories aren't ironic. Is that ironic? That is ironic, actually. I think we can actually safely say that's ironic.
There we go. We got to the bottom of it.
The blind leading the blind. That is just recursive. That's tautology. That's not ironic. What's ironic? It would be ironic if it was a blind guy leading a bunch of people who can see.
That would be more ironic, yes. Yeah, you're right.
7. The cake she made was terrible. How is that ironic? That's just like a cake. You just fucked up a cake. Like, that's not ironic.
What?
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. That doesn't make sense to me.
8. The teacher failed the test. That one's ironic. I'll say that. That's ironic.
That's pretty ironic.
Yeah. That's just
Especially
an insult, says Matt.
Your cake fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Ironic.
The irony is that Cake Boss's cakes taste awful, but they look great. But they're all fondant. So, I mean...
That's, yeah, fun, like, looks cool, but it's not that great.
Yeah. You were going to say something, too, about the cake thing, I think. I kind of cut you off.
No, not that I recall. No.
Okay.
No.
Now,
I don't believe so, no.
This one... Now, these last two, I have no idea where the irony comes from in these. So, number 9. The floor was covered in paint.
I'm assuming they mean wet paint.
Yeah.
But still, that's not really
Not an
what
irony.
I would say is ironic.
Yeah. And then the last one, no parking within 30 feet. What's the irony in that?
Also, is there paint on the ground where you're trying to park?
Yeah. There's no parking within 30 feet of the paint. So that one doesn't strike me as ironic.
I can see maybe like if it was something like no driving within 30 feet. So you're like, how do I leave this place then?
Yeah.
Or something. I don't know. That's just grasping at straws. I don't know what that means. These are dumb. Is this Alanis Morissette's ironic too? She's like,
yeah, this is the
stick
sequel.
around because I got the next one dropping next summer.
Back with the brand new edition.
Ironic part 2. Let's start getting ironic.
Ironic. Mad Lad asks, who wrote these?
Your lack of hands.
What is the sound of one hand clapping?
Slide to the up.
As for who wrote those, just some guy. That's it. That's all who wrote those, Mad Lads. Just some guy. Now, I remember learning about irony in school, like the proper definition of irony, through Shakespeare. Shakespeare loved dramatic irony. So, for instance, in Macbeth pretends to be loyal to Duncan while planning his murder. That's pretty ironic, I would say. It's sneaky, it's conniving, it's ironic.
It's unexpected, which is, I kind of think a lot of times, whether it's correct or not, is what people are meaning when they refer to irony.
Yeah.
It's like something unexpected in a very, like, almost creative way.
Yeah. I'm trying to see if I can find more good examples.
Ian, do you have anything to plug?
Brandon. Yes. Check out the
We have
DrawBomb.
anything to plug? Maybe we should just do it that way from now on.
Yeah. I mean, I like doing the Brandon. I think it's a fun little
Yeah.
motif we got going. But yeah, the DrawBomb channel on YouTube. Tell your friends, tell your kid, tell your wife. Don't tell your kids, actually. It's not for kids, our content.
No.
I was trying to do a meme, but no, it's the YouTube channel of DrawBomb, DrawBomb Live, DrawBomb Plays. They're all YouTube channels that are DrawBomb now. Fucking give them a watch maybe if you want.
Yeah. Our newest one was the Bouncy Lions Pizza
That's correct.
Palace or whatever. It came out good.
It did. I'm very happy with how it turned
I like
out.
that one.
That one we actually like our approach to that one was super different from the rest of the shorts too, with how we didn't even use puppets.
That's true.
But anyways,
Not in the same way, anyways.
not in the same way. But yeah, so folks, check out the YouTube channels. Keep an eye out for This Town Has Secrets whenever we make it.
Keep an eye out for DrawBomb Tonight, which
That's
should
right.
be soonish.
We were gonna film it tomorrow, and then I forgot to send an email. So, ha ha.
Maybe we'll do it next week, maybe.
Yeah. potentially next week on a Monday, you might see us recording a goofy show. Aside from that, I don't got much else. I don't know.
Good night, Mad Lad. Thanks for hanging out.
Yeah, thank you for being here. Thanks for talking about the ironies and the vampires and everything. Next week, we're going to have a new short for everybody. You saw us voice act in it. Yeah, last Tuesday. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah! I don't know, check out Superfly Arturo on Spotify too. That's where my music is if you want to hear a bunch of music. That's a place you can hear it.
Join the Discord if you haven't. I'm going to try to make it a thing.
Yeah! Yeah!
Some effort into that. Thanks, Mad Lad. Thanks, Zone Dog. Thanks, Leviathan Den. Thanks, Lotus Clock. Thanks, Bell Rocket. You guys are the real deal.
That's right. That's the real homies right there. Thank you everyone for supporting us, for hanging out while we literally talk about nothing. God, what do we offer?
It's fun. It's like hanging out with your friends. You know? It's like we're a group of friends. We're hanging out. We're splashing around in a fountain. We all brought our umbrellas. But it's not rain. It's a fountain. That's ironic. And we're just playing around, having a good time, and we're all friends.
That's right. The ironic thing would be if everyone on the cast of Friends was actually enemies with each other and hated each other. That would be ironic.
Yeah, that'd be ironic.
All right. Well, we got the one final one under the buzzer. So, all right, bye everybody. Oh wait, I forgot to hit the intro button. We did the intro without doing the intro screen. Whoopsies. Look at that.
It's all right. You'll get it right on the 160th episode or whatever.
I said episode 100, we would not make any more errors, and we were holding true to that.
Maybe at episode 200, we'll get it down.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah. I can't do that. I sound like